Jen Nalunga, you're the country director of an organization, a civil society organization that has a long name, Southern and Eastern Africa Trade Information Negotiations Institution. But your acronym is CIATINI. You're one of the conglomerate of civil society organizations that are up in arms as a way of speaking against this wanton and, for the most part, brazen move by the parliament to put themselves at a point of tax exemption. What is the beef here?
I think you have, okay, good morning, our viewers, ladies and gentlemen. I think you have talked about the beef, really. If all of us, as Ugandans, are paying taxes, really, why shouldn't members of parliament pay taxes? But then also, when you really look at the list of emoluments they are getting, I don't know whether this is right or wrong. You know, yesterday everybody was sending in information. They also supposed to get this and that. When you look at the list, there is mileage facilitation, 4.5 million, a cow grant, 103 million, monthly gratuity, iPad, constituency,
development fee, they also earn a tax, transport allowance,
sitting allowance for committee. Then what are they doing? For committee of 50,000 per sitting, social security, town running.
Yes.
All these are pages
endless.
And we are saying, first of all, I don't know whether Uganda can be able to afford this. And there are 458 members of parliament. Can Uganda really afford even to sustain this?
Let me just also maybe put in perspective for you just to look at the figures here and maybe also to spur public understanding on what we're talking about here. Some time back, in about 2011, a gentleman by the name of Francis Yamugisha did go to court saying, he went to the commercial court and said, members of parliament at least should be able to pay as you earn tax. And the court rule said, yes, they should deduct. And the calculation was that every member of parliament should be paying 9 million shillings of pay as you, you know. Now, if you multiply that amount of money to the number of MPs, you'll find that annually, just pay as you earn would give this country 41.58 billion Ugandan shillings. And the members of parliament want that money not to go to government coffers so that it can be used to deliver the much needed health, education, and other social
water,
services. But now this obviously is subject for talk, and we are angry as a people. But what beyond talking and getting angry are we going to do to ensure that this?
You know, as civil society, you know, when you look at the social media, people are talking, but again, the social media
is just 1 million of them, and the ones who are talking about 500.
So what we are looking at is to mobilize the people. People need to know what's going on. The people who voted these people.
And when they know what's going on, what do you think these people who voted will do?
You know, we are looking at a number of options. One, we are looking at litigation because already the court case is there. And even if we are looking at worst case scenario, even if the
court passes that they shouldn't pay tax.
Because they appealed that
case. Yes, supposing the appeal is in their favor. We
appeal again.
And if that is in their favor,
no,
we'll look at worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario. Then we mobilize the people.
But why? You must respect the verdict of courts of law.
Yeah, we do.
We are under rule of law.
Yeah, we are. We are under the rule of law.
So why do you want to take the law into your hands?
No, we are not. Mobilizing the people is to be able, if you are my member of parliament and I'm paying taxes, you know, on whatever I eat, sugar, all that, I'm paying taxes.
And
you are not paying.
No, let's not mix things here, Jen. Members of parliament also consume. They go to the same supermarkets like we do. And so they pay taxes on the consumer goods they put in. I think the beef should be on their earnings. Members of parliament earn more than the average voter. Far more than the average voter.
And they are not paying. And that's the crux of the matter. You and me, is there any emolument which you get you don't pay? You know?
Even tell me. Sometimes I feel I'm overbled.
You know, and also the problem is that these are the people who are doing the oversight. You know, how are they going to demand that there should be social services, you know, when you're not paying taxes? And you know, taxes that's that social contract between me and the government. And that's what makes me a citizen. I'm a citizen of Uganda because I pay taxes and I can be able to demand for social services. But
so in other words, members of parliament are trying to disenfranchise
exactly
themselves
that
and
they are
own
not
of their citizenry.
Exactly.
Ooh, what a shame. But you see, you empower Ugandans with all this information, stir their anger, and then go to court. This lasts how many years is going on? Meanwhile, they are enjoying tax-free. Parliament is becoming a duty-free center, if you may. But there must be some quick wins and quick gains that we can make out of this to avert the situation, Jen.
Yeah, but I think we need also to put this in the public domain, you know, and let people also, because the problem with all these things we are talking about, sometimes we leave them in Kampala, talking on NTV and all that.
Just so you are reminded, NTV is being watched right now in the farthest nook and corner of this country.
I know,
there
but how many people,
yeah,
but how many, you know, how many people are watching us now in Karamoja, my home in Masaka?
I hope you will realize that, in fact, there are more people watching NTV than they are on social media.
Really?
Only that in social media, they are the loudest because you hear them.
You don't. Okay, point taken.
Thank you,
but what I'm saying is that we need to be able to give people information about all these monies, really. Like you are saying, to steer, let people be angry. You know, Ugandans, the problem we have, we never get angry. And this is what you have been talking about. Somebody beats you up, he's in a mask. You can see he's a policeman. The police says that he isn't one of us, and we'll continue, okay.
We'll go to the next subject.
Yeah. Another one, you are beaten, you clean yourself up, you wake up and, you know.
And now we are going to bleed financially because we have sustained a huge parliament here that does not want to contribute to this.
Exactly. And we need to be able to say, Ugandans, really, enough is enough. You know?
Jen, you see, like they always say in this long story of who bears the cat. Oftentimes, we Ugandans are looking for that spark that will get us into action. So you are Siatini and your other conglomerate of civil society organizations who are concerned. ICCS BAG is issuing statements left, right, and center. Is there something you're planning? Maybe a demonstration, something that will take some people in their part?
You know, we because the moment we say it's a CS BAG, the conglomerate you are talking about, we are going to demonstrate. They wait. Maybe police will be there. You need to get a police clearance and all that, and you know. But for us, what we are planning really is to be able, for the Ugandans, to be able to rise in their own constituencies, confront the members of parliament in their constituencies.
But also, sometimes, doesn't it bother you that even the same voters you are asking to raise against the members of parliament also don't have the moral authority to ask the member of parliament such questions? Because the member of parliament won their seat by literally buying the vote. And you know that these things happen. They gave you sugar, they gave you salt, they gave you...
Those were gifts. If you are giving me a gift and it doesn't mean that you are going to milk me so that you take all my money, so that there is no choking, there are no classes, no education, no health, no nothing.
You know, Jen, we were having a side banter before we started the program. You were wondering about our bar stools here. Let me give you the psychology of a bar. When you go to a bar with me and I offer a drink.
When are we doing that?
Well, perhaps after here.
Okay.
When we go to the bar and I offer a drink and I offer another drink, because it's a gift to you, that gift may compromise your ability to question my ideas as I speak in the bar, even when they are strongly at variance with your own held ideas.
You know, it depends.
So many Ugandans find themselves in that situation, where they have been bought by these politicians. The politicians have taken the ultimate reward, which is getting to these offices, and it's now time to enrich themselves. And that's why I think for the most part, they treat us with contempt, because they say, look, we bought you, give us our time to loot.
No, but looting from where? Because you see, what Ugandans need to understand, that all these monies, that's our money. It's me, the taxpayer. It's my money. And if I go to hospital and there are no drugs, and you are fattening, you are driving a big car, people need to be able to know that's my money. I can't take my child to school because you are taking my money, you know. So if it can sink in our minds as Ugandans,
that my miseries today are
because
someone is profiteering
illicitly.
They are not paying.
Whether you gave me a kilo of sugar or not, it's material. Then we can be able to rise up as Uganda.
But have you also taken this discussion to members of parliament themselves, the vampires themselves, and tried to convince them against the sucking of blood?
Yeah, we are planning to do that.
Because I think they also need information.
Yes.
Some of them innocently
no, they
are
are
just
not.
following a bunch
Okay.
of greed. You know, they've been calling themselves greedy and all sorts of things. I saw one of them calling the other their deputy greedy and all that. So they use all sorts of language. That's why I'm not apologetic to call members of parliament greedy, because after all, you know who has been calling who greedy. So why don't you sometimes take this conversation to them?
Yeah, we are going to do that.
When?
But soon. But also, because I remember there was a report in the newspapers, Museveni, when he was in Jangwanzi, told these people that the ultimate test of your patriotism is not to increase your salaries. So we're also going to appeal to their patriotism. But you know, also,
they are very intelligent guys. So don't increase your salary,
but don't
exempt us from taxes.
It's the same, because it's the same. So we are going to appeal to their patriotism. But again, also, we need to sympathize with these people. Like you said, they sold off their houses, their wives, they sold off everything for the sake of coming into parliament.
Indeed.
And they need to recoup their money. And then also, maybe we need to go back to the Constitution. The Constitution allows these people to set their emoluments. Really, Mr. Kasiati, you are here. Somebody says, your boss says, you say, how much do you want? How much do you want?
Jen, don't ask me. I will give you a figure, you will be able to write it on a small piece of paper.
Exactly. You see? So all of us we are greedy, you know? We are greedy in a way. So even members of parliament, you know, we have to appeal to their patriotism, to their sense of...
Do you have a bit of that? Do you think they have patriotism
I think so.
Virtue? Do you think they have a sense of shame as a virtue? Do you think they have a sense of consideration as a virtue? Look at them. The whole list of them.
If they don't have a sense of shame, then we shame them. But let us start with their appealing to that, to their good nature. If they are not, then we shame them.
Jane, of course, you as civil society organizations have mastered the art of trying to create perspective to some of these issues that happen on a daily. For example, you're telling us that in the 2016-2017 financial year budget, the government is in about a 35 million shillings shortfall to recruit some much needed 3,000 plus health workers. That means that if the government is unable to collect this 41 billion plus in pay as you earn for members of parliament, this plan is crippled completely. And yet these are the same members of parliament whose constituents need
that.
But also
they
themselves
need
these health workers.
And they also even have children who are health workers, nurses, whom they have taken to school, who don't have jobs. You see? So I think they also need to understand, you know?
That's what you just preempted my question. I think more than say we will demonstrate, name and shame them, I think importantly, these members of parliament are suffering from a deficiency of information on the malaise of what they are moving.
The malaise.
They are looking at very short-term gains in terms of not paying taxes, but they are forgetting the long-term
the bigger picture. That's true.
They
are because, like I said, you know, all of us, if I say I need this money, you don't look at the bigger picture. What are the implications if I get all this money on health, on my family? So we need to appeal to that nature. So the other, if it doesn't work, then we need plan B and plan C. But we are going to start with that, to look at the implication. You know, recently, again in the media, there was the issue of graduated tax. Again, we are culprits on that, you know, saying that how do we bring back this colonial tax and all that. But what we are saying also is that all Ugandans should pay a direct tax from your pocket.
To paying you to the extent that you have your citizenry right and voice to demand for services.
Exactly. So if every Ugandan was paying that tax, this campaign would be easier, because what we are looking at is a tax should also help us to, that role of citizenship, help us in the issues of governance, demanding for democratic accountability, demanding for transparency.
Jen, they say that what is not measured indeed cannot be done.
Exactly.
And for what is measured, there must be certain timelines. For the most part, you've been saying, we are going to, we are going to. I'm very much interested, Jen, in knowing what timelines are we looking at?
The timelines,
for example, I'll just give a this sensitization to members of parliament, which I want to think that is the first step. When do you hope to do this? Are you going to do this old folk of people where over 70% have lost their seats and they are in wind down, or you're going to wait for May when the new breed swears in and you take those ones on?
Because what we are looking at is because we understand through the grapevine that this amendment, the meeting is today. That's what we hear.
And we know that Minister of Finance comes in, Matia Kasaija, who brings in some of the
bills
to do with finance.
Yeah, the tax,
the debate will start, yes.
We start. Okay. So we are looking at mobilizing in districts.
But if the debate is today, we've not taken time to educate these members of parliament, to buy them, to do some what we call stakeholder engagement.
We sent them some messages and all that.
You see, I never receive messages coming in here. Oh, wedding meeting launching, all that.
And especially if they're asking you for money. And here we are telling these people, don't pay yourselves any more money.
So what appetite do they have to read your messages and take you seriously? You may need to do something. You see, you can.
What are you suggesting? Because we are in it together. You also are Ugandan.
Yes.
What should we be doing?
Now, for me to give you my expert advice on what civil society organizations should do, Jane.
No, Ugandans, what Ugandans should do.
You're working at civil society organizations, not miss this. My expert opinion could also come at a fee, only that I'm willing to pay taxes on that fee. But I used to say, there could be a lot more engagement. I mean, you are a civil society organization, you're not short of ideas like you will have a sensitization seminar for all stakeholders and have a symposium for 3 days in a swanky hotel. But at least an action that will say, look, this is an information pack. You as members of parliament, when you do the things that you intend to do, one, you deviate yourself from being a true citizen, because then you're not paying any taxes to the state. But also importantly, you look ugly and greedy to the eyes of the electorate, because they see you as vampires out to suck the little blood that's left in the national
There is no blood.
Absolutely. So, you have to make the message hard, tough, and in fact disgusting and abusive to some of them. Nice way to start. But give yourself a timeline. Because if the debate is supposed to be today, perhaps this conversation should have taken place last week at the latest. After that, go down to the citizenry. Educate them and say, at least by May, let's ensure that we can only allow a member of parliament to swear in if they can also swear to us that they will not go into this election.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, my bill is accumulating.
It is. Don't worry. As long as you pay taxes on it.
I have no problem with doing that. And then you possibly also look for the biggest stakeholder in all this, who is the president. And I think the president, for the most part, seems to be in agreement, especially when you quote him as telling his lawmakers in Changwanzi that this time round over his dead body, will they increase their emolument?
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, it has to be a concerted effort.
Exactly.
And that is something that you owe to do.
Those are very good suggestions.
And are you going to tell them up?
They make sense. Because right now, we are going to have another meeting.
Because now, Jen, my issue is, and my worry is, and my very good suggestions, too little, too late.
No, they are not. It's never too late. It's never too late. And you know what? We understood, we got to know about this.
It's never too late.
It's through the grapevine.
Can I give you a Luganda adage that tells you even which beats it's never too late? Linda Chigweyo.
You
may miss it. Well, as we conclude, Jen, on this issue of tax exemption to members of parliament, I mean, next we'll see other groups in government service asking for the same.
Yeah, they already. Armed forces, by the way, armed forces are exempted by the way, and we talked about that also.
Exactly. So it seems that the scope is widening.
It's widening.
Perhaps even civil servants will start looking into
and then you know the problem with the tax exemptions. Again, what they are going to do is to increase the indirect taxes, the VAT on electricity, on sugar, and again it will be the poor people
that continue to pay.
Because you know you have heard of the Panama, you know the Panama list. You see now the corporations. The corporations are also finding ways of dodging taxes through tax havens. The big fish, they are saying exempt us. So who is remaining? The poor, you and me, pay as you earn, we pay all you earn, and the poor people who are going to pay, you know, through
it gets worse even before you think of getting better. But
and
also,
then,
if you're a Christian, you know that from biblical days, tax collectors were never very popular. A lot of people.
They were never. But now, what we are talking about is let everybody pay their fair share, you know. And then, if we pay, then we can be able to demand for services.
Well, she couldn't have concluded better there. Jane Narunga, Country Director of Siatini, saying if it's a question of equity or equality for that matter, whichever way you want to look at it, at least let everybody pay. Let's take a breather when we return. It's time.